Thank you very much, Mr. Kanjo. It's always a great pleasure to join all the listeners of Apex One Radio to talk about what is happening in our country, Cameroon.
And one of the things happening out there is filmmaking. And we understand you recently took part in a film making masterclass, which took place at the American Embassy in Yaounde and facilitated by Penjo Baba. So tell us the story.
The story starts from Douala, actually, when Penjo Baba organized a seminar, a documentary making seminar in his studios in Douala at Happy Sport. We were accompanied by some two Australian documentary filmmakers who gave us the insights, the skills, the techniques, and methods by which we can do documentaries, even right from our phone, because they realize that most communities need to tell their stories and make others discover what is happening in different parts of the world. And then later on, when Penjo Baba decided to, well, he worked with the American Embassy to commemorate the Mandela Day at the American Embassy to organize an acting and short filmmaking masterclass, which I hurriedly jumped on the opportunity because following the training I had in Douala, it was very amazing.
Mhm.
And you know, when we got to the embassy, it was such a powerful feat.
Wow, that's interesting. So tell us, who were the participants? Just people who are interested in making films, or people who are already in the industry?
Well, actually, 90% who attended the seminar are enthusiasts. That is,
Mhm.
people who are trying to having an entry point into filmmaking.
Mhm.
People aspiring to make films, but we also had some people who came in to support, like Nkenzrils. His actress Nkenzrils was one of the participants at the training, along with other staff of the American Embassy. So actually, the training was more for enthusiasts, people who
Mhm.
want to get into filmmaking and documentary making more than those who are already established in the domain of filmmaking.
Mm-hmm. Tabifor Kings, I know filmmaking cannot be taught in one day. It's a whole long process. So
Yeah.
definitely Penjo and his team would have started with the basics. So what are some of the topics that they touched?
Exactly as you said, we cannot teach filmmaking in one day, but they went in to give us the general psychology, mind frame, and experience one will have when they get into filmmaking. The
Mm-hmm.
main topics that were touched in the training included how to prepare for a short film, how to do basic skills on getting locations, how to get a start, how to get your crew, what are the components of a crew and how do you organize them, what are some of the equipment you should, or what's the checklist of equipment that you have to make a short film, the basics of do and don'ts. And then as concerns acting, we were schooled on the psychology of an actor, or the importance of, or how acting and filmmaking can affect our communities. We're also schooled about methods and techniques to get your other crew members to deliver on the lines, because people feel like lines are just to be repeated
Mm-hmm.
without realizing that lines are just guidelines for you to actually act or present a concept or an idea. So
Mm-hmm.
in summary, those are some of the main things that we touched. It was
Mm-hmm.
an introductory phase, but it actually gave us the desire and the push for us to get into filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Tabifor Kings, what was the reaction of the participants?
Wow, they were so amazed, especially with the demystification of filmmaking. Most of them came with an idea like filmmaking is like some cultist thing or some supernatural environment,
Mm-hmm.
but they were totally demystified about it. It was like filmmaking for dummies. Nobody left with nobody practically left with the question. Everybody was totally clarified, and most people left also with a sense of gratitude because we are dealing with established people like Ndamo Damaris has won countless awards. Penjo Baba is the icon of Cameroonian technique of the technical aspect of cinematography. They left with a lot of gratitude
Yeah.
because at no fee we were having a full masterclass about years of experience that they have had. So I in particular I left with a lot of gratitude, and seriously, I don't intend to waste what we learned during the training.
Yeah, exactly. So, was there any practical session?
Yes, there was actually a practical session. It was quite interesting because they just called up some participants, and Damu Damaris whispered something for them to say, and they just said it. Just one of the participants actually said it in a way that we could understood what they told him to say. So it was then that we realized that acting is not just repeating the lines. Acting is the lines are there like it's like a guideline to tell you how to act or how to present the information. The person who actually did it right, they told him, the whisper to his ear, like he was like, I feel useless in this seminar. And he had his shoulder down, he had his voice low, and he was
Yeah.
speaking with doubt in his voice. So immediately we could believe what he was saying. So with just that, what that was one of the practical sessions that we did that make us understand what we are learning.
Mm.
Okay, so how did the participants say they will use this knowledge? Did
Actually,
they
there was
mention?
one participant. Yes, there's this particular participant. He calls himself Mr. Hungry or the
Okay.
Hungry videographer. Yeah. So he was the most interesting of all. I thought I was interesting, but he was 5 times more interesting than me.
Wow.
So he, he he was very interesting. He has been trying to do documentaries on things that are happening around his community,
Mhm.
to try to be a voice to voice out things that are not going right in his community. And most people used to mock at him. Most people used to tell him that, oh, he's a hungry person, he doesn't even have food to eat, he's idle, he should get a job and all of that. And so he lacked this confidence in himself. But during the training, they actually presented us as agents of social change, as people who are there to drive positive agendas that can build our communities. And at the time we're living, he was like, the knowledge that he's using now is not only giving him the courage to keep doing what he's doing, but
Yeah.
he's going to use it to voice out aspects of the community which people are overlooking or people are not talking about, aspects of the community that is actually a challenge, but nobody is taking up the courage to voice it out. And I,
Yeah.
in particular, the main way I want to use what I've learned from the seminar is I've always been very interested in documentary making, but more specifically in the struggles of the people, what people are trying to do to make ends meet, what are the realities of some communities. And with
Yes.
what I've learned from there, it's a push force, for me to achieve that dream. I'm actually talking here. I'm at a store where they're selling performance machines to do video editing. I came to
Wow.
buy a laptop, so I just stopped.
Wow.
I came to buy a laptop for editing because I was so inspired by this. I was like, this is
Yes.
what I'm going to do. Yeah. So yeah.
So
We're speaking with journalist Tabifor Kings, who is now doubling as aspiring filmmaker. He's live from Yaounde, and the story is the recent filmmaking masterclass organized and facilitated by filmmaker Penjo Baba. This is African Fiesta. We're doing the 201st edition of the show, and it's Saturday, the 22nd of July, 2023. We are live from the United States of America. Kings, this workshop is coming at a time when a lot is happening in the film industry in Cameroon. Would you say this is just the right time to train people? Because I don't know, maybe the market is open and people need to grab that opportunity and start making, films.
Yes, I'll say there was no better time to start this workshop, honestly, because
Mm.
the Cameroon film industry has reached the position of explosion without exaggeration. When I look at when I've been an enthusiast of film all my life, and I remember when we just started, people were just using camcorders to make films. We're just using, crude microphones, but now we're having films that can appear. We have films that are now appearing on Netflix and other streaming platforms. Recently, we went to the cinema to watch Carista's movie on the big screen. So we have actually gotten into that market. There was no better time to start that. And many of us were very scared to get into the market. We're like, oh, there's already people like Benjo Baba who is in the market.
Mhm.
winning all the contracts. We already have the Ndambo Damarisis, the Candy Lawrences, who are already big actresses, getting all the awards. We will never get there. But
Hmm.
suddenly, the same people you're idolizing.
Okay, it looks like we lost him because of internet connectivity. This is Fiesta, the 201st edition of the show, presented here in the studio by two of us. There is,
Shin?
and of course, Ernest, Kanjo, Marcel. Adig is producing the show. Still to come, we speak with Sierra Leonean actress and producer Mary Turay, who is getting set to join us on this platform. Moustapha Bayo will be here to talk about the Columbus African Festival 200 or 2023 edition. And of course, Benita Mbah will be telling us more about documentary filmmaking, which is an extraction or an extension of what Tabifor Kings has just been telling us about. Let's find out if Kings is coming back to run off. Then we move to perhaps Mary. Then we do Benita. Kings is back, right? So Kings, we're about to run off.
Yeah.
One last thing. What is it that you think participants back home from this workshop, and are you of the opinion that we should have more of these workshops?
The main thing that participants went back with was the courage to start,
Mhm.
actually. They went back with the courage to start. All doubts were cleared, all mysteries were unraveled, or solved, if I should call it that way.
Mhm.
All doubts were cleared. I mean, the fears that people had was removed. And so the main thing amongst all the technical things we learned was the courage to start. And that is why I'm buying a technical laptop that can help me to do the editing,
Mhm.
because I'm not going to be able to start. Sorry, there's a machine around. And then I think such workshops should be multiplied in the country in a systematic way. I'm hereby calling the Ministry of Culture to do something about it, to champion this kinds of workshops. And even those technicians, we have uh, we have one workshop again that is happening in Bonaberry
Mhm.
by Takong Delvis, So I think it's a team that has started. If government authorities and other people on other funders and the corporate bodies can sponsor such trainings on a regular basis, we will have our Cameroon film industry take a bigger turn.
Wow, that's interesting. Well, Kings, want to thank you so much. Definitely, we will continue this story as time unfolds. Thank you so much. Do have a fantastic rest of the day out there in Yaounde.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kanjo, and nice weekend to all the Apex One radio listeners.
All right. Thanks. And bye. That was Tabifor Kings live from Yaounde, telling us about the seminar on film making. Shin and I are here live in the studio, and still to come, we'll be speaking with a YouTuber, we'll be speaking to a cultural activist, we'll be speaking to a film producer, we'll be speaking to a gospel musician. But for now, let's listen to some music made by by Columbus-based Frank Zulu and Douala-based Fallen Benji. Zero to Hero is the title of that beautiful piece of music, and we'll be right back with you. Follow Benji. Follow Benji and Franzuru, that beautiful piece of music there, paying tribute to Apex One Radio as well. Music released, I guess, 2 years ago, but then music which is still fresh on our music taste buds. And of course, we are live on radio today. This is Apex One Radio, and you're listening to African Fiesta, the 201st edition of the show. It's a presentation of two of us right here in the studio. There is
Shin.
and of course, Ernest Kanjo. Right. So, our next guest will be speaking live from Freetown in Sierra Leone. Then, still to come, we'll be speaking with Nkenzrils. She'll be live from Germany as well. Okay, so let's see if Mary Turay is ready and she'll be joining us shortly. Don't go away. This is African Fiesta.
You mentioned.
Mary. All right, thank you so much, Franzuru and Folem Benji. Beautiful piece of music there, which has brought the time to 11 minutes past 9 here in the studio of Apex One Radio. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, welcome to the show. Right, so we've been talking filmmaking. Shin, are you also interested in hitting the camera someday and appearing
Yeah, of
in movies?
course. I'm very much interested. It's very interesting to really
Mm.
show off what you know in the acting domain, your talents, and it's beautiful. And I'm so much in great admiration for all these actresses and actors out there.
Mm, perfect. All right. So we're now going to Freetown in Sierra Leone. Freetown that hosted not two, but one event having two products to expose to the public. I'm talking about the premiere of two movies produced by Sierra Leone's frontline actress and producer, Mary Turay. And so a couple of weeks ago, we had Poison Ivy and Miles of Broken Spaces that were premiered, and the actress has continued her journey. She's involved in so many other projects, some of which she'll be telling us on radio today, including an awards. In which she's been nominated, I guess, for 3 or 4 categories. I guess she's not ready yet. She's struggling to reach us here in the studio from Freetown. Once connectivity is back, we will be joining Mary Turay from Freetown. But I guess Ken's reel is set for us while Mary prepares herself to get back to us. We will probably make a stopover in Walsuch in Germany and speak with YouTuber Nkenzrils. She's quite new. She's a budding YouTuber, but she's already doing great. The future is very bright. When you watch her very first video, you will definitely understand that she's ready to hit the road for this great journey. But while she gets set to join us, maybe we have another burst of music. I know, looks like Mary's here. Shin. Let's just go to Freetown and speak with Mary Grace Turay, who now joins us. Mary, how are you today? Welcome to the program.
Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm just really tired. I had a lot to do yesterday, but
I
I'm
understand.
fine.
And you should be talking about open mic night.
Yeah,
If my guess is right.
yes, your guess is right. I was there until I think it was after 1 a.m. in the morning,
Mhm.
and yeah, I got home by 2. So I'm really, really tired. But I
Mhm.
cannot say no to you. You're the boss, man.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe before we talk about the movies today, what is the open mic night all about?
So the open mic is a platform where young coming up singers, people that are into poetry, rappers,
Mhm.
come to display their talents. It's actually happened at Creative Hub Africa,
Mhm.
and when they display their talent, if you're that good, you'd probably have like a producer who would sign you,
Mhm.
or probably someone who'd like to sponsor your career. So I happened to be the host yesterday, and it was crazy. This country is made of super super talented people, man. The
Mhm.
world is, I don't know, I don't think the world is ready for Sierra Leone, man. I was blown away yesterday. Lots
I
of
know.
amazing talents came out last night, and it was super good, super interactive, lot of support. The crowd was really really supportive, and we had lots of fun. It was
Mhm.
it was fun, yeah.
Definitely lots of fun last evening in Freetown, Sierra Leone. And like Mary says, Sierra Leone is ready for the world. She doesn't know if the world is ready for Sierra Leone yet.
I don't know if the world is ready.
Right. So I'm here with Shin today. Shin, say hi to Mary.
Hi, Mary Turay.
Hi,
Hello.
Shin.
Nice
Shin,
to
right?
meet you.
All
Nice to
right.
meet you too. How are you, Shin?
I'm good. I'm good. And
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Perfect. And so, like we said, Mary is a producer of two recent movies, Poison Ivy and Miles of Broken Spaces, two movies which were recently premiered in Freetown. Before we get to talk more, Mary, tell us how did the premiere for these two movies go?
Oh, remarkable. Awesome. Glory to God Almighty. It went well. Lots of obstacles, lots of challenges. Always when you want to put a show together, you would have definitely lots of challenges. But I just love how God showed up, and showed out. It was good, lots of turnout. The place where I did the premiere is actually taking like 480 people, and a lot of people came out to support me.
Mhm.
It meant a lot. It meant a lot. A lot of people had different feedbacks. They loved the movies, but I think a lot of people were in love with Poison Ivy.
Mhm.
Because I happen to be a bad girl in Poison Ivy. When you're a good person and then you play the bad character, people get to see a different side of you. So yeah, it
I
was it
know
was
that.
really good. The
Mm.
premiere went well. Glory to God Almighty. Yeah.
So, where are both movies available now?
So we're still working on that. So during the premiere, what happened is we actually produced the movies 2 years ago. I was even pregnant when we did those movies.
Mhm.
So I only got the chance to see them the Thursday that's led to the Friday that we had the premiere, because the Ghanaian guy I partnered with actually went with all of the files. He told me they were going to do a great job, and actually they did a great job. I'm not gonna lie. But the audience in Ghana and Sierra Leone is different. You understand, when it comes to movie, the way you edit your films in Ghana is not the way you do in Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone we still have a baby industry. So
Yeah.
there's a whole lot you need to let people see for them to actually believe what you are telling. So I just figured we still have like few things to do. We have like few changes to make, and we're almost done with those changes. Very soon, let's say early next month,
Mhm.
people are going to get the chance to definitely see those movies.
Okay. So you earlier mentioned that so many people love or maybe like prefer Poison Ivy, the movie
Yeah.
Poison Ivy. So what is Poison Ivy all about?
All right. So Poison Ivy is about these three selfish individuals. Like they're selfish, like very selfish. Like there's
Okay.
Jericho, there's Wilson, and of course Poison Ivy. I happen to play Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy is a con. She's a con woman. She
Okay.
cons men for their wealth, for their monies and stuff like that. So uh, she's also dating Wilson, who happens to be a lawyer and a brother to a very rich man. So at the end of the day, Wilson was like, okay, I know you're into con and stuff like that, but for the
Mhm.
very first time, I want us to just work as partners, because I love you so much. And I just want us to get my brother's money, because if it's just me, he's not going to give the money to me. So I want you, Ivy, to get married to my brother, take all of his riches, and then we
Wow.
can go live our lives. So Ivy was like, yeah, I can do that. So she got married to the man, not knowing that the man actually wants a child. And now she got married, and the man was like, I'm not gonna give you my wealth until you get pregnant and you give me a child. The problem now is Jericho cannot make Wilson, sorry, cannot make Ivy pregnant.
Mhm.
So that is where Jericho comes in, because they started looking for somebody who can get Ivy pregnant. So they had to look for somebody they can frame, and then get Ivy pregnant. Jericho came into the picture and got Ivy pregnant, not knowing that he also had his own agenda. So now it's like three individuals, all of them have like a different agenda, but the goal is to get the wealth from the husband that Ivy got married to.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's see who's going to get the wealth at the end of the day. Who is going to win? Is it Ivy? Is it Jericho that just happened to come into the picture? Or Wilson, who happens to be the man's little brother? So I'm gonna stop right there because I want you
Yeah.
to go see the end.
Thanks for the suspense.
Yes.
For sure we are going to watch that movie.
Yeah.
So can you present the cast?
Yes, so I played Ivy, of course, May Gistue, and Wilson happens to be Ramadan, one of the top leading actors in Sierra Leone. Thank you for working with me, Ramdi. And also Edwin. Edwin is a Ghanaian. He's the guy I actually partnered with. So let me just tell you a backstory. Yeah. So Edwin
Mhm.
came to Sierra Leone on a project that he did with somebody in Ghana. And when he came, he happened to meet Sparta. And he saw Game On, a movie I did in 2018. And
Mhm.
he was like, who is this? Who is this lady? Who is this? And they told him, oh, she's married. She's blah, 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 blah. He was like, how can I get to her? I think I want to do something with her before I leave. And I think nobody actually responded properly to him, according to him. So he
Mm.
had to go on Instagram and look me up. And then he sent me a message and he was like, hey, I'm in Sierra Leone. I'm a Ghanaian. I saw Game On. And I was like, ooh, I can't wait to work with you. Can we do something before I leave? And I was like, no way. And he was like, why? I said, I'm pregnant. He was like, really? I said, yes. And I think I'm ready to work right now. And he's like, I'm going to pull off something. Give me 2 days. I'll get my writer to put something together for us to work because I'm not going to live without working with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm this blessed. Yes. So they put something together and then we met. I loved the story and I was like, yeah, I'll just executive produce this and produce this. And then we did Poison Ivy and Mouth of Broken Spaces. Like in 2 weeks, we shot
Mm.
both movies in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the backstory.
Mary Grace Turay is her name. She's live from Freetown in Sierra Leone, frontline actress and movie producer in that country. Mary is live on Apex One Radio this Saturday, talking about her projects. And of course, in the course of this conversation, she will tell us what she has off her sleeves or what we should be looking for in the next couple of weeks, in the next couple of months. Just a brief one about Miles of Broken Spaces, Mary.
Yes. All right, okay. So Mouth of Broken Spaces is about this popular filmmaker and actor who is really popular, but
Mhm.
so in love with his wife. Like he's so proud of his pregnant wife. But there's this thing that I have noticed that is actually happening now in our generation. I just don't know why. People just see married couples and go like, the wife is not even supposed to marry to that guy. She's
Mm.
not. She doesn't deserve to be in that position.
Yeah.
People just feel like they deserve to be in your position. Like, hey, are you okay? You don't even know what people have been through. How can you just sit and feel like you deserve to be in the woman's position as in you being the wife of the man? So the
Mhm.
guy is very popular, and there is just this one lady who just feels the wife should not be the wife. The wife should be her and not the wife the man has. So she's ready to do whatever to put the marriage asunder. You understand? To just destroy the people's marriage. So she went as far as doing a whole lot to the point where the wife did something stupid to the husband that ended the husband career. So if you
Mm.
want to know more, when it comes out, go check out Mount of Broken Spaces. I'm
Definitely.
gonna stop right there.
Definitely.
So,
Yeah.
Mary, you've been nominated at the 2023 Begin Film Festival in LA, California.
Yay!
Can you tell us about it?
Okay, so Begin Films Festival. It actually started from Inspire.
Mhm.
Inspire was a challenge. Martin Samuel Studios. You can check that up on Instagram. They're very big. They're in Los Angeles. So I was going through my Instagram one day, and then I saw this guy talking about people from Africa doing short films. a 5-minute short film to inspire the world. And if you happen to win, you'd get some cash and some other things at the end of the day. And I was like, I think I like this. Let me just give it a try. But I was busy because I was planning my movie premiere. So what I did was I took the information and then I sent to my friend, Lloyd, who's also a filmmaker from here. So I was like, Lloyd, what do you think? Do you think we can put something together and send? For me, I'm really busy right now. Can you just put something together? And he was like, yeah, if you want us to do it, we can do it. I can put something together. You just pay attention on your movie premiere. As soon as you're done, we can just shoot and then take it from there. So the competition was from on the 1st of May to the 31st of May. You should have submitted your movie. So we had like limited time because my movie premiere was on the 19th of May. So Lloyd had to go ahead and put the script together. He sent Clash of Era. I was like, Lloyd, this is different. And he was like, yes, I want your input. So I made some corrections. I was like, if I were you, I'll twist this. I'll add this. I'll take this out. And he was like, yes, you're correct. So he took my corrections and he put the script together. So immediately after my premiere on the 19th, I think it was on the 22nd. Yes, on the 22nd, we started shooting. We actually filmed in a day. We shot everything in a day. And it took like 2 days for him to edit and subtitle because we did the movie in Timini. Here it's a local dialect, so that is like, let me just, like, if I want to say now hi, I'll say Topian Dera, as in how are you in Timini. So we had to subtitle all of that and then we sent it. So that was this day. I was just going through Instagram again and then I saw Martin Samuel posting movies that made it into the competition, and I saw Clash of Air. I was like, are you serious? Because really, I was not expecting Clash of Air to be there. I'll be honest. We actually just gave it a try. You get, but I was like, how these competitions go and stuff like that. I was like, I was not too sure about it. But when I saw Clash of Air, I was like, and then I went on his status on Instagram, and it was his story. And it was always there. So I was like, oh my God. So I sent him a message. I was like, thank you so much for bringing this platform. You don't know what you have done. Indeed, you have inspired us to do a whole lot. And the fact that my film is there, a movie that I directed is there, it means a whole lot. Because backstory again, in February, I actually quit my job because I really wanted to just pay attention on filmmaking. So there was so much going on in my head. So the fact that I saw a movie that I directed on that platform was just enough for me to know that, hey, this is the right move that you made. You get. So I was like, oh my God, I was so happy. I called Lloyd and I was like, Lloyd, we made it, blah, 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 blah. And a few weeks ago again, I woke up and I was like, we made it to the top 10. I was like, woo! And not only the top 10, I was nominated as Best Actress, Lloyd as Best Actor, Best Screenplay. I was also nominated as, I am, because the competition is in August. I don't want to say was, I am, because, I'm still, and also being nominated as Best Director. Man, this is everything. It's everything. So that is how all of that happened. So I think because of how people submitted their projects for Inspire short film, that is why the Martin Samuel organization thought they should turn it into a film festival. You get. So that is how they made it into a film festival. Yeah.
So congratulations for your nomination, Mary Turay.
Thank you.
Wow. So I want to ask you, for example, we want to vote. We want you to absolutely win this. So how is the voting done? And what do you expect from your fans?
Okay, so that is the part that is so sweet. I just love that part so much. You don't have to vote at all. You don't have to vote. They have a panel, it's the panel that watches the movies and they choose the best from, I don't want to say, I'll just say the best from the rest, because everyone that took part in that competition went through hell and back. Doing a 5-minute film, it's not easy at all. So they have a panel that actually handles everything. So yes, you don't have to vote at all.
Beautiful. We're speaking with Mary Turay. We're about to run off this conversation with our guests from Sierra Leone in, precisely West Africa. And like Mary said, she is multiple nominee at the 2023 edition of the Baking Film Festival that takes place in LA here in California. Right. Mary, before we go away, tell us what are the projects you have in the pipeline?
Okay, truth is, I have a lot of projects. A lot of people have been calling me, but of course, I want to produce more of my stories. And for now, I just want to say, I think we talked. Is it 2 years ago or last year? I don't know.
Last year, no, year before last.
Year before last.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I did not talk about poison ivy and mouths of broken spaces. But then we talked about ties and stock. And today we're talking about poison ivy and mouths of broken spaces. So let's see how it goes and where God take me the next probably 1 or 2 years. When we talk again, you would definitely know, because when things happen,
definitely. Sure. Right. Yeah. Just before you go away, Mary, could you just drop your contacts?
Okay, so it's Mary Grace Turay on Instagram, on Facebook, and soon I think I have to turn it to Mary Grace Turay Fatoma, because I got married. I got married like last year. Hey,
congratulations, Mary.
Congratulations.
Yes, I have to change that. So I just want guys to know that very soon they'll be saying Mary Grace Fatoma or Mary Grace Turay Fatoma, because I don't want my husband to kick me out of his house. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, and if you want to call me directly, is +232 79194415. My email is may.g.turay@gmail.com. And of course, Facebook is May Grace Turay 146. Instagram May Grace Turay 146. TikTok is May Grace Turay MGT. Yeah, pretty much that's it. Of course, Twitter is May Grace Turay. I still have a problem with Twitter. I need to upgrade my Twitter skill.
Try.
I have to do it. Yeah, I have to do it. I really have to work on my Twitter accounts and stuff like that.
Mary, want to thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Hopefully, you'll be back on this platform not too long from now.
Not too long, because definitely there would be so much to talk about. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to the beautiful women in the studio. Thank you guys.
Thank you too. You are amazing.
Thank you.
Do have a fantastic rest of your day, Mary.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye. All right, Shin. So that was Mary speaking from Freetown in Sierra Leone. Like she said, there are more projects coming. So we're looking forward to that, right?
Exactly.
So talking about music, what genre of music is your favorite, Shin?
Ernest,
I know you grew up in Yaounde. Is it Bikutsi? Because I love Bikutsi. Yeah.
I love every Cameroon music. Yes, for sure. Whether be it Bikutsi, be it Makosa, be it Mbole. So in fact, what you have, just put it and we're going to enjoy it.
All right. So this time we'll be doing I don't know if it's Afro pop or it's some Afrobeat kind of, but this one was done in 2015 by Realm Squad featuring Wax Day, and it's titled Chop No Day. Then we'll be moving to Germany to speak with the budding YouTuber who is
Nkenzrils,
who is ready for us, Nkenzrils. All right, so let's have some music and we'll be right back with you. For a long time, she's been nursing dreams of letting her story out there through a YouTube channel. She is a nurse currently working in Germany, and she thinks that the world needs to be educated on a lot of health issues, and she can also contribute, her own little quarter to make sure that people are educated on basic health tips. And she thinks that a YouTube channel is the best way to do that, at least for now. Her name is Nkenzrils. She's our next guest in this edition of Fiesta, just on Apex One Radio. Do not go away. And so officially, she's just one video in YouTube. Beautiful video, of course. I had time to watch it over and over, and the content is just so rich, and it's content which you will not afford to miss after you would have gotten exposed to it for the first time. Nkenzrils is her name. She is a budding YouTuber. She's our next guest on this show today. This is African Fiesta with Ernest and
Shin.
And we're broadcasting live from Columbus, Ohio. Meantime, special thanks to all our listeners, especially the ones who are following us on apex1radio.com. The ones on Radio Garden, we want to say thank you so much. And if you are listening to us on apex1radio.com, we want to say thank you so much. Then, for those of you following us on Facebook, including Michael Jeremiah, who is in Texas, and Frank Zulu, we want to say thank you for your time and thanks for always being fervent listeners of Apex One Radio. Ernest and Shin with Apex One Radio's African Fiesta number 201. Your prayer?
Oui.
Dans la vie, il faut débriller. Rhythm Squad and Wax Day in that beautiful piece of music, which has put the time to 24 minutes to 10 here in the studio of Apex One Radio. And like I said, our next guest is a YouTuber who is just making her way into the business of YouTube, and she's coming in grand style. But then we do not own her story, she owns it. Let her come and tell us that story. From Valsuch in Germany, Nkenzrils now joining us. Nkenzrils, thank you so much. How are you today?
Thank you for having me, Mr. Kanjo. I'm doing great, thank you. And I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. And how is Valsuch this Saturday afternoon?
Valsuch is calm.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything is just moving on fine. It's just calm. Nothing interesting, actually.
Oh, great. Well, Nkenzrils, I'm going to take, quite some time to be able to master this name. Can you help me?
Know. I know, right? The name it's actually easy. Just Nkenzrils. Just add an S at the end of it. Yeah, Nkenzrils. It's the initial of both my names, so it's easy that way.
I don't think Shin has a problem with this name.
I hope not.
I don't think.
Okay.
I thought I was wrong in the pronunciation, but I think I'm really right now.
Okay.
Okay. That's good.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Right.
I'm honored to be here.
You are heartily welcome. So, like we said, you are a budding YouTuber. You are very, very young in the business of YouTube. And I know off mic some time ago, you had expressed your fervent wish to do this. Now you've hit the road. And thank God you're here today to tell us how the journey has been so far. But before that, for how long have you been on YouTube?
I actually created my YouTube channel on the 17th of February, but I uploaded my first video on the 3rd of July. So practically, I've been on YouTube for just a month.
Wow.
I'm still very new.
So, Nkenzrils, what actually motivated you to start with this YouTube account?
What motivated me was actually the urge and the zeal to empower people, to share my knowledge out there. And my biggest inspiration has been my grandmom. Meet me. She was an may God bless her soul, she recently passed away. She was an educator and a mentor, and she had mentored a lot of people, and I was lucky to be one of the beneficiaries. So I actually just want to carry on with her legacy in my own little way to empower and educate people, because I believe I have the capacity to do that. I have a lot of knowledge to share out to the public.
She's definitely very knowledgeable, and she has so much content in her which she thinks sharing to the public would do the world a lot of good. Her name is Nkenzrils. She's live on Apex One Radio, budding YouTuber. Now, you must have nursed these dreams for a long time before finally coming out. Tell us, how old was that idea before you finally put it out there?
I've been nursing this dream for some years now. I started in 2019, but I have just been procrastinating and always saying, I have time, I have time. But then I discovered if you want to do something, just get on it. And that's why I started now to ride on into the dream.
Yeah. So your YouTube channel is practically based on health and health issues. So I want to ask, really, what were you really thinking when you decided to conceive this project of Nurse Notes by Nkenzrils?
Okay. Before I go straight to your answer, I would like to say I actually was opportune to study in Cameroon, do nursing in Cameroon before traveling here in Germany.
Yeah.
So I acquired the higher national diploma in nursing in the University of Buea. So I actually had quality knowledge from the school, and having working in hospitals, most government hospitals, health centers, and community.
Yes.
And now here that I'm in Germany, I've also worked in hospitals, communities, and still working. So I've learned a lot. And I just thought there are a lot of things I could do different when I was working in hospitals back in Cameroon. So why not create a medium where I can enrich or educate those back home
Yeah.
with what I am learning daily here in Germany? Just like, German has one of the best healthcare system, I must say so. So I am learning a lot, and I wish to give out to the public what I am learning. That's it.
Beautiful. Nkenzrils and her notebook, and she calls it Nurse Notes by Nkenzrils. Is a new show on YouTube. And before she rounds off this conversation with us, she'll be telling us how we can get to watch the show on YouTube. She is our guest, and she's speaking live from Waldshut in Germany. So let us know what this show is all about. Educate us on Nurse Notes by Nkenzrils. If we go in there, what is it that we'll be seeing?
Nurse Notes with Nkenzrils, it's actually a platform where I share my experience as a nurse here in Germany, and also share essential health tips. In this channel, I'm going to be doing a lot, like also helping immigrants here in Germany who are also facing challenges in the nursing schools and the German hospitals. It is not easy. There are a lot of challenges. So I just want to help my audience and those who are facing challenges in how to cope with the challenges. So it's just trying to empower others, but also empowering myself. So it's just going to be it's a learning channel. We learn as we go.
Yeah, we really learn as we go. So it's just a month, as you said, that you launched this channel. So what are the topics you have already posted since then?
I've since my introductory video, I've posted just a video on high blood pressure.
Yeah, high blood pressure.
So high blood pressure is something that is we don't really notice that it's a silent killer, and we ignore. So I'm just trying to create more awareness on it, and that's what I've created out there. There's still more to come.
Wow,
Beautiful.
that's interesting. And her recent video, which is of course the maiden one, has to do with natural foods that help, to reduce high blood pressure. And like she said, that's a very common health issue now. In the past, Shin, we were told that you could only become hypertensive, at an advanced age. But it's no longer the case today because we have young people living in their 20s
Exactly. I know
becoming
some.
hypertensive. So it's a major health issue. And, programs like this, platforms like this are actually necessary, for that education. Now, what has been the reaction from the public so far? What are people who've watched at least the first video been telling you?
I've got many positive remarks. I've also got messages from my inbox asking questions on how it is. So I'm actually impressed by the outcome because it's my first time. I'm still getting to it,
Right.
And the feedback I got was really impressive. And now I'm really motivated to really to carry on with what I wish to do out there because I have a lot. I just need to channel it out the right way.
Oh, great.
Okay, that's great. So, Nkenzrils, please, can you explain the process of making a video on making any of your videos? How does the process goes on? How is the conception being done? Like from conception to completion and uploading?
That's a very good question. It's not easy, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is when I get the idea of what I wish to publish out there, I do a lot of research on it.
Mm-hmm.
I also ask questions from my colleagues in the hospital, like trying to get the real first-hand knowledge and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So when I have the ideas and my research, I put it together into a script. And now I plan on how to shoot a video.
Yeah.
So when I'm done setting, I now shoot this video. And when I'm done, I now try to edit it.
Yeah.
Then give it out at times for corrections to my manager. And after that, it's now time for it to be uploaded on the various social platforms, most especially on YouTube.
I usually like to know the very first experience, like the day you're doing the very first video, the day you went in front of the camera for the first time to do this. What was the feeling? Explain the feeling to us.
It was really funny though, because it was very difficult to be serious. I'm not very much a serious person. It was very difficult to be serious. So I had to reshoot and reshoot and reshoot. It wasn't easy. But when I finally got it, I was so proud of myself.
Yes.
Wow. So far, are you facing any challenges? What is it that is hard to come by?
The first challenges I have now is time. Because Mr. Kanjo, as you know, I study, I go to school, I work, and I also have a family that needs my attention.
Sure.
So the time to do this research, to put contents together, and to shoot this video, is my biggest challenge. But I'll definitely come around. I'll get better as the day goes on.
That's it. So you earlier mentioned about your manager. So I really want to know who are those assisting you, like all those behind the scene, to make this project come true.
The first person that is really trying to push this dream ahead is my manager, who is no other person than my lovely husband.
Wow.
So that's a strong team here. So that's the main, that's my biggest support system right now, and I'm so blessed to have such. And also I also have some friends, some very good friends that also help me with some feedbacks, like, hey, this is good, I've done this better or this better. And I learned a lot from corrections. So when I love critics. When you critique me, I learn and I better of myself. So those are them. That's it.
I like that. There is always room for improvement, and the start will be
Exactly.
difficult, but down the road, things get easier. But it's a learning process because we learn every day, especially with technology. Lots and lots of softwares are coming on, and you'll be dealing with all of that in this journey. We're speaking with Nkenzrils. She is the youngest YouTuber we have around, and her nurse notes with Nkenzrils.
Nkenzrils.
It's already permeating the community and of course the YouTube world. She's live on Apex One Radio. The show is Fiesta. We're doing the 201st edition of the show. It's a co-presentation by Ernest, Kanjo,
And Shin.
Marcel. Adig is producing the show from Valsut in Germany, and the time is 10 minutes to 10 here. We should be 2:50 in Germany, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So
Yeah.
this
3:50.
this business is also about consistency. Now, tell us, what is the periodicity of your uploads? Should we be expecting videos every week, every 2 weeks, every month?
You should be expecting videos from me, hopefully every week for now. My next video is going to be on Monday. When I have
Wow.
the time, I'll definitely put it out there. There's a lot.
Okay.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I already have a list of all the videos. I have various topics. I already have a plan.
Yeah.
I just need the time to to shoot the videos because I already have the content. I just need to put it out in the right way, appealing to my public, and then
Okay.
upload.
So beautiful. What do you expect from the public? And if there are people who've listened to us talk today and would want to experience nurse notes with Nkenzrils, how do they get there?
They can start by subscribing to my channel, Nurse Notes with Nkenzrils,
Mhm.
and stay tuned for the wonderful uploads I have coming up. They can also reach me on Instagram, MacWheels,
Mhm.
my Facebook page. They can also follow because I'm still starting.
Mhm.
When they follow now, they will not miss out with all I have I have still coming.
Mhm.
They can follow me on Nurse Note with Nkenzrils. And why not write me an email on nursenotewithnkenzrils@gmail.com.
Okay. The message has definitely gone across. We want to thank you so much for joining us on the show today, and we want to congratulate you on this great initiative. Yours is a noble mission,
Yeah.
the mission to educate the world. It can never be taken for granted. This is just the start, but believe me, down the road, you're going to get more positive reactions from the public, and of course, why not people who will come in to contribute, in your respective ways. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be here. I was really tired, but I'm happy I got it done. I'm grateful.
Right. So, how is the rest of your day going to look like? I know it's summer out there and everyone is out on a day like this.
When I'm done here, I'm going straight to my bed
Oh,
because I'm already I'm really tired. I even have headaches. So that's why you cannot, I'm not really in my normal self, but I can't turn you down. I'm really honored to be here. So I had to make it come true.
and we want to thank you so much. Just go back, relax, and of course, have a beautiful rest of the day.
I definitely will. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Bye for now. All right, so that was young YouTuber Nkenzrils, who has just hit the road, with what she calls Nurse Notes by Nkenzrils. And she was live on the 201st edition of African Fiesta, just on Apex One Radio. We'll get more support from Quintin, who is here in the studio of Apex One Radio. Special thanks to you out there, Okon, Gracie, Emmanuel, and of course, Ayo. Still to come, we speak with Moustapha Bayo. Moustapha will be here to talk about the 2023 edition of the Columbus African Festival, which should be pulling the attention of the city of Ohio or the city of Columbus next weekend. All right. What do we do next, Shin? Maybe some music then. we hit the road for the next guest.
Yes, exactly.
And this time around is Makosa. Tell us about your relationship with Makosa. Do you love Makosa as well?
Yes, I love Makosa. I wouldn't say it's something so modern for the youth of today, but it's beautiful. I love Makosa and what we call in Cameroon ancien Makosa. If you really have any of them, put it.
And I guess Makosa is what put Cameroon on the spotlight and on the world map, a long time ago. It's true that Afrobeat and all the Afro stuff, have come today. But before then, we had Makosa. Well, let's go back to this beautiful Makosa piece by Ruth Koto, sister of the legendary Koto Baz, and that one is titled Oh Makosa. Shin and I will be back with you. Don't go away. Well, let's go back to this beautiful Makosa piece by Ruth Koto, sister of the legendary Koto Baz, and that one is Ruth Scott, that beautiful piece of Makosa, the title Oh it has brought the time to 2 minutes to 10 here in the studio of Apex One Radio. Thank you so much if you are just joining us. My name is Ernest Kanjo, and I am in the studio with my co-host and of course Marcel. Adig is producing the show from Valsuch in Germany, and we are having our listeners out there who are also giving us their moral support. We have Quentin, who is right here in the studio of Apex One Radio as well. Still to come, we'll We'll be speaking with Benita, Mbah, and we'll go back to the film workshop. But for now, we have Moustapha Bayo, who is right here in the studio of Apex One Radio. Moustapha doubles as a broadcaster here on Apex One Radio. But today he's here to talk about the ongoing African festival, one of the first African festivals in the city of Columbus. It's called the Columbus African Festival. The 2023 edition will be taking place next weekend here in Columbus. So Moustapha will be throwing more light on that. He is right here in the studio of Apex One Radio and will be joining us in a moment. Oui. Ok, tu es prêt?
Oui.
And so all roads lead to Columbus next week, precisely on the 29th, right? Yeah, the 29th of July. All roads lead to Columbus for the 2028 edition of the Columbus African Festival. That is our next topic. Don't go away. Moustapha is right here in the studio. This is Apex One Radio. We are live from Columbus, Ohio.
Check, check. Mic check. C'est bon? Okay. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2.
Okay, thank you so much, Ruth Cotto, in that beautiful piece of music there. We're back in the studio, and you must have noticed that we've been joined by our studio guest today. Moustapha Bayo is one of the organizers of the HO Columbus African Festival. It's one of the oldest cultural events organized by the African community in Ohio. And the festival has been going on for a couple of years now. The 2023 edition takes place next Saturday, right?
That's correct.
Next Saturday here in the city of Columbus. And usually it's a crowd puller event, you know. Africans and, of course, the entire Black community comes out to witness the fanfare, the pomp, the pomp and the pageantry which this event offers. You have fashion displayed, African delicacies displayed, African music displayed, African dance, beautiful choreography. You need to be there, you know, and witness this great cultural event that happens annually. And so Moustapha now joins us here in the studio. He's one of the organizers. How are you doing today, Moustapha?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Great. So, how was the week, by the way?
Week has been great. Weather has been up and down, but so far so good. Excited about the CAF, the Columbus African Festival next week. It's going to be a 2-day event, family oriented, basically showcasing African culture here in Columbus and Central Ohio.
Beautiful. And so if you are in Columbus and its environs or the state of Ohio or even out of this state, please, you should be making your way to Columbus next week. Then you will not regret it. Tell us about this festival. When did it start? And, give us a history of this festival. Let's go from there.
Well, that's actually a great question because the festival started about 4 years ago. And I think you guys were there for the first edition at the Spartan. It actually came about because of a realization by two great.
Okay, so sorry, Mustafa. We'll have to fix your mic. Then we'll be right back. We're sorry about that. Alex, so let's find out if Mustafa's mic is okay now. Then we'll go. I guess it's okay now.
Is it?
Let's
Is
see.
it okay
It
now?
is. It is
It
now.
is?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so
It
yeah,
is.
I see the light blinking.
Sure. Let's go. We're sorry about it.
Yeah, so I was talking about the history of the CAF, or the Columbus African Festival.
Mhm.
So about four years ago,
Mhm.
exactly 5 years ago, a group of two great African organizations here, UpNet and African, we came together, and we realized that in Columbus or Central Ohio, there is not such thing where African culture, Africanism is showcased.
Mhm.
So we decided to team up, and then do the first Columbus African Festival.
Mhm.
It happened at Innis Park.
Mhm.
And I'm going to be honest, we were not expecting the number of people that we got.
Mhm.
We were maybe expecting about 500 people,
Mhm.
but ultimately about 2,000 people showed up.
Wow.
Wow.
So that was that was an indication that the community and the people in Columbus and Central Ohio are in need of such an event. So again, that's basically how it started, and from then on, we continued organizing the event until COVID hit, where
Mhm.
we had to take a break. And this year, for the first time again, it's going to be a 2-day event.
Okay.
So usually it's a 1 day on a Saturday, but this year we decided to do 2 days. And for the first time again, an African festival, or I don't think anything African related, is taking place downtown at Genoa Park.
Mhm.
So we are excited.
Ok, d'accord. Moustapha.
Oui, oui.
Bon, je suis très ravie d'avoir un confrère de l'Afrique francophone ici. Bon, je ne
Enchanté.
m'attendais pas. Non, je suis très ravie de te rencontrer ce jour. Donc, j'aimerais juste savoir, tu as parlé de toi et une autre personne qui ont conçu cette idée.
En fait, c'est pas seul moi, c'est deux organisations que nous avions ici à Columbus qui ont décidé de se mettre ensemble. C'était des organisations africaines, naturellement, qui se sont mises ensemble pour essayer d'organiser un festival africain pour les Africains et puis d'autres communautés de Columbus et puis Central Ohio.
Quelles sont ces organisations dont tu parles?
Bon, AppNet. AppNet, c'est une organisation, c'est African Professional Network.
Yeah.
Et aussi The African, c'est une autre organisation et eux tous, en fait, toutes les deux organisations poursuivaient les mêmes objectifs.
Oui.
D'un côté, c'était essayer de mettre ensemble les professionnels africains de Columbus pour essayer de créer une certaine harmonie et créer des possibilités pour nous qui sommes des origines africaines. Et African, c'était un groupe, en fait, qui se rencontrait et qui discutait d'une façon très philosophique des sujets qui faisaient face à la communauté africaine et tout.
D'accord. Et just to move on, I want to ask you, please, can you explain how the previous edition, how it went?
Well, like I was saying earlier, man, you're switching between French and English.
Which that's what gives the beauty of
it
the
is the beauty. So you have to give me some time because my mind has to switch back and forth. So the previous editions, as I was saying earlier, the first edition was a big surprise for us because when we came together, it was the first time, and we're not expecting the type of people. I mean, people showed up. We were when we did our planning and all of that, it was like, okay, maybe we get 500 people, right? But to our amazement, 2,000 people showed up. I mean, the vendors, they sold out everything. The food vendors, everything was sold out. And we were kind of overwhelmed because we were not expecting that number of people to show up, but it actually went great. So from there on, we had our second edition. We had to change park or location because the one that we had was not conducive of having more than a few thousand people. But this time we went to a bigger park, and we had more vendors, we had more artists and things like that. And afterward, COVID hit, so we had to stop. But even with that, we tried to be resilient because we believe that there is a need for Africa and African culture to be showcased around the world, and we want to be part of that process.
That's it. So, is there any innovations other than what you mentioned, like getting a new hall? So, what else are you cooking, or what else have you changed, and what new thing for this new edition?
Well, that's actually a great question. But I'm gonna try to put it in context, right? Last year when we had the festival, and right around when it was getting started, we had a couple of artists that were still not performing. It rained, so it was kind of a hard break for us. But what did we do? We came back when we decided to come back stronger and more ambitious. So this time around we are holding a 2-day event. It's not a 1 day. Usually it's just a Saturday and then we leave. But this time it's a 2-day. So it's a Saturday and a Sunday. Should you not have time to come on Saturday, you have Sunday to come. And in terms of new edition, speaking like I was saying earlier, this is the first time an African event or cultural event is taking place downtown Columbus at Genoa Park, which is a beautiful place for festival because it's facing downtown Columbus, and you can see from Kosai the architecture of our beautiful city.
Actually, you got a perfect spot.
Yes, we believe so. We believe so, and we are hoping that a lot more people will come and really enjoy our, what we have to offer this time around. Again, it's going to be fashion. It's going to be great African food and performers from all over Columbus and Ohio.
That's beautiful.
It is indeed.
So
it is.
What is on the agenda? What the people are expecting to see this year? What's your estimate of the population you think can come this year?
Well, this time we want to be ambitious. We're hoping to get 20,000 people.
Wow, that's
between
great.
between the 2 days.
Yeah.
It would be fantastic, right? So we don't want to settle. So our motto this year is collaborate to elevate. Again, we believe that as a community, we have a lot to offer. We have great artists here in Columbus. We have great vendors. We have people that are doing amazing thing in the city of Columbus that need to be showcased, not only to the city of Columbus, but to the rest of the world, because you don't never know who's going to show up. So we are encouraged, we're excited, and we are hoping that the community will come and support. And it's a family event. Bring your kids with you and enjoy that piece of Africa that we are trying to offer to you away from home.
Okay.
Collaborate to elaborate the theme for this year's edition of the Columbus African Festival, which takes place on July the 29th and July the 30th this year. That should be Saturday and Sunday of next week. If you are in Columbus and around Columbus, please be making your way to the event venue, which he will reiterate before the end of this conversation. This is African Fiesta, the 201st edition, and our current guest is Moustapha Bayo, one of the organizers of this great festival, which happens annually, but then which was halted at some point because of COVID-19. But the festival is back, and it's back with all the niceties you can think about. What are some of those dance groups? The other year I was there, and we had some great dance groups from West Africa. So tell us about some of those groups.
Well, so we have Gore group, which is a a dancing and drumming group here in Columbus,
Okay.
and we have a Yugo dancers from Cincinnati.
Mhm.
I think we have the Kenyan dancers as well. We also have Mamadi who plays the flute,
Okay.
the drum, and he's very artistic. And we also have some spoken words, right?
Oh, wow.
We're gonna have somebody that will come. I mean, I think two people
Mhm.
will come on Saturday and Sunday that will have poetry and speak about
Mhm.
whatever um, uh, arts
Mhm.
that they want. So again, it's celebrating our culture,
Mhm.
celebrating our people, and making sure that we are part of this larger group of the collective world. So
I know the Columbus African Festival ground is usually an exhibition venue par excellence with everything displayed, food, fashion, and stuff. And these artists who come to display their stuff, I guess they get registered. They are given, I don't know if it stands or tell us how does it go?
so the way it goes, we have different committees, right? We have committees for vendors and we have committees for performers.
Okay.
So for vendors, naturally you have to pay a fee
Okay.
to kind of host, to kind of have it's a tent
It tends.
where you can either sell your merchandise or food.
Okay.
And I think for the performers, they don't have to pay. We kind of reach out to them,
Okay.
and then we pay them actually to come and showcase their talent.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us how involved is the city of Columbus in this event? Because I know that's an event that has a direct bearing on the city of Columbus,
Absolutely.
and the current mayor has been promoting a lot of those African initiatives.
Right. So the city of Columbus is actually very involved. In fact, we have two council men, woman, one council man and one council woman,
Mhm.
who had given us some money. And it was, I think, last edition, one of the edition, the mayor of Columbus was there to speak. We
Mhm.
also will have, some speakers, both from the African community
Mhm.
and those that are impacting our communities here.
Mhm.
So the city is very involved. We work together with them in trying to get the permits and understanding.
Mhm.
Again, since it is our first time putting the event downtown,
Mhm.
the challenges are different, right? So
Mhm.
we really need to
Security, safety,
so,
and all those things.
exactly, and
Mhm.
it's the 2 day event, and this is our first time doing it, so we kind of need some hand holding from the city.
Mhm.
So we are closely working together, and we're hoping that it will be beneficial for both the city and our community here.
I don't want to say that I'm assuming that sponsorship is one big deal because I know it is. So
Yes.
tell us about sponsorship so far.
Well, sponsorship is great.
Mhm.
We've have many sponsors this year, much more than we have had before.
Okay.
So we are again, if you want to show your business, you want people to know about it. We're always looking for sponsors. But we've had multiple sponsors, and it's very interesting because some of these sponsors are African businesses too,
Yeah.
right? So that is great, right? We want to have more African businesses to sponsor this event because it's about us. It's about our culture. So yeah.
Maybe before Shin comes to run off with you, let me ask this question that could be a little bit sensitive. So, this festival has been going on at least over the years, and like I mentioned, it's one of the first such events within the African community.
Right.
A lot of things are happening, things are evolving, there's technology, there are other communities. Columbus is getting bigger and
Right.
bigger.
Right.
Do you see Columbus African Festival as having a firm foundation, which it is going to consolidate with the challenges you and I know? What is the place of this festival as we speak?
Well, so that's actually a very good question, and the idea, the initial thought about the Columbus African Festival was to try to bring together the African community in Columbus to face and talk and work on our collective challenges here in Columbus, right? Being far from home, it's always a challenge.
Yeah.
You feel disconnected, and the realities of the United States of Columbus are completely different from the ones back home. So one of the goals that we have set this year, it's actually working with community, trying to get them more involved so that we begin at least a conversation about the things that can be painful, and how as an organization that showcases that Africanism, we can deal with those, right? But again, we firmly believe that it starts with a conversation, and that conversation needs to happen at some point. So we've been trying to, bring communities and talk to them and kind of ask them how we can better, again, we can be a source of solutions here, than just because we just don't want to dance and do all of that. We want to be impactful as well.
Okay. Wow. So we are expecting 24,000 people.
Yeah, more.
Yeah, and more at the venue this year. So please, I would just like you to specify more about the dates, the venue,
Okay.
the time, the
Right.
slot, and so that we can actually know where we are going to and when.
Okay, so like I was saying, it's going to be a 2-day event, right? So it's going to be July 29th and July 30th.
Yeah.
And the time is between 12 to 8.
Okay.
And the location is Genoa Park, which is 330 West Broad Street, downtown.
Yeah.
It's right by the Sayadu Mile River.
Yeah.
So if you take Broad Street, you go straight downtown. It's right there. Or if you know Kosai, which is a very popular place in Columbus, if
Yeah.
you know Kosai, it's just going to be behind Kosai.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So we are expecting the whole African community to be
And
there
more.
with us. We are expecting the Americans and
Yeah, every other person.
around the world
Exactly.
to come discover what African has.
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's it.
That is the goal. And we can thank you guys for allowing us to to talk about the festival here and have a conversation about it. Thank you a lot.
Okay, so just before you go away, let me say this. Then I will have you say something. The Taste of Nigeria Food Festival takes place this year from August to October. As a matter of fact, the festival covers 3 cities every year. So this year they are beginning from Atlanta, then they'll move to Tulsa and DWF. I don't know what that means, but then Peggy Lemon will be on the show next week to throw more light on that. So a Taste of Nigeria Festival is a food festival that happens annually, and it's a display of Nigerian cuisine. It brings together thousands of people who attend the festival. So we'll be talking about that next week. And I was going to ask you, there are scores of these festivals, African festivals across the country.
Right.
Do you hope to partner with some of these initiatives sometime down the road?
Well, absolutely. And that's the beauty of our organization. We are not closed minded. We welcome everybody that would like to work with us and following, so that we can all come together to get to the same vision, right? Because and it always pleases my heart when I see all of these African cultural events around the country.
Right.
More and more, we're being more, we're expressing our culture. We are embracing that culture. We're really getting in touch with our Africanism, even not being in Africa. We have so much to offer. I think we are the best people in the world, and we cannot shy away from letting the world know that we exist, we matter, and we can have a voice and make a difference.
Exactly.
Well, the message has definitely gone across. I want to thank you so much
Well,
and
thank you very much.
congratulate you and your team on this great initiative. And hope you have a very successful event this year.
Yeah, thank you very much, and I would like to thank you for having me, and in name for I'm speaking for the whole organization committee. We thank you, we appreciate you, and we are hoping that you guys will be there and enjoy some of the beautiful things that we have to offer.
Definitely, we will be there and we'll be back to tell the story. Thank you so much, Moustapha.
Thanks again.
All right, so this is African Fiesta. Our last guest will be joining us from Buea. Then that will be it for this edition of the show. Let's have some music then. Benita will be joining us live from Buea. Okay, so we'll go back to Florence Cisse, Flosidel, Yankee Lady. Then thereafter, we will be joining our guest from, not guest, but our reporter in Buea to run off this edition of the show. I will be right back with you. Flossie Deli in that beautiful piece of music there titled Yankee Lady Remix. We are gradually but steadily moving to the end of the show. And earlier on the program, we talked about the filmmaking workshop that took place in Douala and Yaounde, respectively, facilitated by Penjo Baba and, of course, Damo Damaris. And so we are back with part two of the story. Our reporter Benita Mbah actually sat through the Douala version of the film making masterclass, and in Douala focus was on documentary films. And so she's our next guest in this edition of the show. And so earlier this month, a group of filmmakers and filmmaking learners were drilled on documentary filmmaking by the same organizer, Penjo Baba, who partnered with Good Things Production Australia to sharpen the skills of their participants.
Yeah. The masterclass took place in Douala and was attended amongst others by media practitioners, including Apex One Radio's Benita Mbah, who now presents the rest of the story from Buea.
Hello, Ernest. Hello,
Benita,
Shin.
how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Okay. How is Buea this Saturday evening?
Buea is awesome. The weather is kind of cool, so yes.
Oh, great. Right. So we started off with Tabifor Kings, who incidentally attended the master class in Douala, then moved over to Yaounde to continue. And that master class was facilitated by Penjo Baba. So you were in the Douala version of this master class, and you say the focus was on documentary filmmaking. Tell us the rest of the story, Benita.
Yes, definitely. We are going towards an era where we have a lot of stories, a lot of African stories, a lot of Cameroonian stories we can share, and positively in our own ways and all of that. So yes, we have a lot of young people who are struggling to tell the stories using various means and various methods as well. So yes, this opportunity brought forth by Penjo Baba and in line with Anna Sheralambos and Christina Kraskov, all from Australia, was an amazing one, which was out to educate or drill the skill of 10, just 10 documentary filmmakers. Emphasis they needed, it was a very, very limited, just 10 persons required for this process. And it was not just, the selection was not just random. The selection was not random. When you get to Penjo Baba and you stated he made sure that he emphasized that he was not looking for beginners. He was not looking for people who have zero knowledge about documentary filmmaking. He was looking for people who have some idea about documentary filmmaking to sharpen their skills as well. So it was quite an interesting one. And when we went to Douala, and we caught up with these amazing persons who dished out their skills. It was an interesting one because they took us down a very interesting road. There were a lot of things we have been doing as documentary filmmakers that we didn't know we're not supposed to do. And with the knowledge that they shared, I think it shaped and maybe encourage others as well to, begin that route as well. One of such persons, we talked of Tabifor Kings. Tabifor Kings was present as well. And he made mention because people shared their experiences, the challenges that they have been facing so far. And Tabifor said he had once, he had left documentary filmmaking or he had moved away from it, but when he saw this opportunity pop up, he was like, okay, fine, maybe this is the push I need to restart and go forward into all of this. So yes, we talked a whole lot about documentary filmmaking. Like I said, it was not for beginners. It was not for beginners. It was for people who had some knowledge about documentary filmmaking. And even though we had that, they talked to us a little bit about what documentary filmmaking is, the various styles of documentary filmmaking, and what it's needed to engage in documentary filmmaking from. You need to have your story, you need to have the network and a whole lot of other things as well. You need to have access to the story, you need to have access to a whole lot of things before you start getting into documentary making. And you should know when you're picking a kind of a documentary you want to make, you should be able to detect what kind of style you would want to use. Is it the observatory commentary, or I mean, they laid emphasis on a whole lot of styles of documentary filmmaking. Is it the flyover or fly over the wall, the style you want to use, and all of that? So they talked about it, and equally mentions that we have to be cautious, because it is true that in as much as we go about taking images of people and putting it out there, we have to ensure that we get their consent as well. We make the mistake a lot. Sometimes it just keeps the mind, or sometimes we even don't know that that's what we are supposed to do. But equally been mentioned that every face you see in a documentary film, you need to ensure that you have their consent. Because take for instance, maybe you're probably struggling to target an international media organ, and the person they ask you, do you have the consent form for all these faces we are seeing here?
Yeah.
And you start asking yourself, oh wait, I don't get that. So yes, they talked about all of that, and they equally shared really great knowledge about it, and talked about the fact that we tend to let others tell our stories a lot. We tend to let others tell our story a lot. Now, these two persons were coming all the way from Australia. They had the spreadsheet competition they were filming, and it just so happens that one of the competitors is from Cameroon. And guess what? It got so surprising that there are a lot of Cameroonians who have zero knowledge or who have zero clue about this thing happening. That's a young kid who is going to the USA, to the United States, to take part in this competition, and we don't know about it. It is rather people elsewhere who are telling the story. So they equally encouraged us as Africans or as Cameroonians to tell our stories. We should tell the stories about the things that are happening to us. And it's not just about competitions and all of that. We equally talked a lot on the kind of stories you want to tell. Is it on environment? Is it on health? Is it a documentary film on health? Is it a documentary film on environment? Is it a documentary film on culture? What is it that you need to think now? What if you find yourself in a situation where you're doing a documentary film and there's a crowd and all of that, and people ask that, do you start going around and giving consent forms to all of them to ensure that you can use their image safely without any issues? And they equally mentioned that, okay, fine, you could, if it's difficult for you to get the consent form to each and every one of those persons, you could just get them say it on video, on record, and say, okay, fine, my name is this, and I approve the use of my image for whatsoever purpose. So it was quite an interesting session, and it was one which actually made me to start something as far as documentary filmmaking is concerned.
Now, tell us. I know you were there in a double capacity as a workshop participant and a journalist. So you had the eye of a journalist, the quite observant, I guess. So, how were the participants reacting? What are some of the concerns they raised? And if you spoke with some of them, how were they going to use the knowledge learned? What did they tell you?
Yes, I think I'm going to take a very simple. We had a participant there who has never done documentary filming before, but she's passionate about it. She's passionate about telling stories and all of that. So that was a Lafon. Lafon was not someone, she had no prior knowledge to documentary film, and when she was part of this, we spoke extensively, and she made mention of the fact that this workshop is going to help her a whole lot, because she felt like couldn't do it. She needed the right skills to go about making documentaries, and a host of others. You equally had people like Calvin Wallang. Calvin Wallang was present as well, and he too has has been doing a couple of things, and from this knowledge they have garnered, they are promising to do better. They said they were going to, do a whole lot. And then there's equally Jabi Kitty, she's a YouTuber, and she does a lot of touristic and cultural documentary films and all of that. Now
Yeah.
there was a point in time where she was a little bit confused because she didn't really know how long a documentary must be, and how this, and from this particular workshop session, she learned a whole lot. She equally had this the challenge of sound. She struggled to ask how she can go about the sound and all of that, and they really were explicit in how they dished out the knowledge. So yes, everybody who attended that particular workshop was marveled. They
Wow.
were happy. We equally had Inda Anira, who has been doing a couple of works as well. Now, her own challenge she faced, and how this great team, Penjo Baba, Anna, and Christina, were able to help her out. Now she works for an organization, but now she doesn't have right to put up whatever it is she does for that organization. So she was at a crossroads and didn't know what to do. And from this particular platform, this session, they gave her tips on what she had to do. She could focus on her own works, in as much as she's doing things for the organization as well. She could try to invest in herself and a whole lot. So yes, from this workshop, we learned quite a lot. Like, for instance, what makes a good documentary. Like I said earlier, we have access to the story, genuine access. That's we must also have character, and we must, and through this documentary process, we must equally discover new information. So in essence, they try to put a lot of things in line for us, and it was an amazing, and people are already doing a couple of works and learning from it. They equally give this they give us popular apps we could use, especially since most of us are using our phones. Most of these persons who attended the session use their Android phones to shoot everything it is that they shoot. So they equally gave them some camera apps they could use for better quality images and a whole lot more.
Perfect. This is Apex 1 We're speaking to Benita and Mbah, who attended the workshop on documentary filmmaking, which took place recently in Douala. Benita, last question. I know you are a journalist, and recently you were out on the field to do some work, maybe a documentary, I guess. So, how is this workshop going to help Benita as a journalist? Just need to know the place of documentary in the professional life of a journalist like yourself.
All right, thank you so much. Now, like I said, I was particularly interested in this particular session because there are a lot of stories I want to tell, and at some point in time, I felt like I didn't have that courage to like start it, and because I had tried it before and it failed for me. So I felt like, okay, maybe documentary filmmaking is not for me. And when this opportunity popped up, I was like, okay, fine, maybe this is time for me to rekindle the energy I had once in me. And when we went there, trust me, it was quite an enriching process. And I must appreciate Penjo Baba for this initiative. Now, we didn't only talk about documentary filmmaking. There's a part where I forgot to mention. We had Theodore Abba, who is an Adobe certified professional, talked to us a whole lot on the importance of being certified, of being an Adobe certified professional. Maybe if you're using Adobe Premiere Pro, you're using After Effects, Illustrator, and a whole lot more. So that was another part of the story I didn't mention, which was equally very, very vital, because why this came up in line with this particular workshop was because we have a lot of persons who say they are Premiere Pro editors, they are Adobe Illustrator editors, they do Photoshop and all of that. But when you ask them, okay, are you a certified now that's where the big trouble comes. So we were equally exposed to this opportunity where you could learn, you could learn, you could put your skills into practice, and then you become a certified Adobe professional, maybe Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Illustrator, After Effects, and all that. So that's another knowledge we gained there. A lot of people don't know this, so it was important for me to come back to this. Now, okay, back to how this workshop is going to be impactful in my life. I'm very, very interested not only in entertainment but equally in environmental reporting. So when I got this, I equally spoke with Anna and Christina. They were like, and I pitched an idea to them, and the first questions, do you have access to the story? I was like, yes, I have someone who is doing something. Okay, do you have character? Is this some new information we are going to discover from this? Now, you must not tell it plainly. You must have a unique way to do it. We must discover something new. We must in as much as we have some clue, but there must be something new about your character, the story, the person whom you're talking about. So I learned quite a lot, and it is actually shaped how I'm about to go about a lot of things. Not just that, microphones were equally wireless microphones were equally given to the participants that tend to ease the video coverage and all of that. So I believe that I think I can start making some very good short documentaries.
Perfect. Well, we're looking forward to that, Benita, and we know you will make it real big in this in this area of reporting, documentary filmmaking. Benita, I want to thank you so much. We'll definitely continue this story in our subsequent editions, and we're looking forward to doing a lot of stuff on that. Benita Mbah, running off there from Buea. Do have a fantastic rest of the day, and most probably you'll be back on the show next week, Benita.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Ernest. Thank you, Shin, for having me on board.
Thank you.
All right. So that was our reporter in Cameroon, precisely in Buea, Benita Mbah, running off. And that brings us to the end of this edition of African Fiesta on Apex One Radio. But just before we go away, we want to say, just want to welcome you spontaneously on the show. So you sat back and you were observing what we were doing. Just say one thing. How did you find what we were doing? Quintin, by the way, is our broadcasting trainee here on Apex One Radio. His show should be starting anytime from now. So tell us about what you observed this morning and maybe about your show before you leave.
Well, it's a lot of work.
Go ahead.
It seems like it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, right?
I can see that. And I can say this. The hardest working man that I've seen here in this city so far. And I know I'm going to learn a lot from you. As far as my show going, it's called The Understanding. And I think that a lot of times in across the board and in different communities and different backgrounds, there's a lack of understanding of what we need to do to bring ourselves together as a community. But it starts with ourselves. One of the questions that I always ask myself is, how can I be a better version of me? Being on this planet for how long I've been on this planet, I won't disclose my age right now, but anyway, so I've seen a lot and I've been through a lot, and it all comes back to me. I can control me. So the understanding of who I am first, it's going to branch out to everybody else. You got to become the light to be able to shine the light on somebody else. But it's also going to be me. I have a bucket list of things that I want to do, and I'll get to that portion later. But it's a lot of things that I want to see and do, and I'm going to videotape it, and I'm going to just bring it on to my show. And things like that. My big thing is relationships. That's where it started. Because it's been near and dear to my heart. You know, I grew up with both of my parents.
Okay, perfect. So he'll be live on Apex One to do with his show. You know, in the nearest future. Quintin is one of us here. He's currently getting set for that. Just before we go away, just to remind you of the Ghana Festival Ohio, which takes place from the the 5th, from the 3rd to the 7th of August this year. A team from that festival will be here on Apex One Radio the next couple of days. They were here a couple of weeks ago to initiate the media partnership with Apex One Radio. They will be here again next week, most probably, to talk about the festival which is coming up, Ghana Festival Ohio, first edition. Also to mention that the 2023 edition of the New Americans Book Fair takes place, and this year it will be hosted by the Columbus Metropolitan Library Dublin venue. It will take place on September the 23rd this year. It's going to be a wonderful event. It will start from 11 and will run up to 6 p.m. And so if you are a book author, a writer, if you're a printer, bookshop owner, publisher, collective exhibitor, if you are a poet, artist, agent or scout, a marketer or film producer, then this is for you. Get registered and come with your works to display and exhibit at this year's edition of the New Americans magazine or New Americans Book Fair. The edition of last year was heavily attended. It was a wonderful maiden edition of this same initiative. So edition number 2 takes place this year. All right, so we're about to run off. And what was the major story we had on the show today, Shin?
Yes, Ernest. We heard on the show that filmmaking in Africa has continued to grow from leaps and bounds as aspiring content producers got drilled recently. After Douala for a documentary filmmaking workshop, Yaounde rounded off a similar exercise. Both filmmaking masterclasses organized by renowned Cameroonian filmmaker and photography specialist Penja Baba offered a golden opportunity for aspiring filmmakers and actors to sharpen their skills in the art. On African Fiesta today, we came back to both workshops. Benita, Mbah, and Tabifor Kings were on the show from Yaounde and Buea, respectively.
And also on African Fiesta today, we spoke with Leonean actress and producer Mary Turay, who was here to talk about her projects and what she has of her sleeves. We also listened to Nkenzrils and her YouTube adventure. She was live from Waldshut in Germany. Then Moustapha Bayo was here to talk about the Columbus African Festival, which takes place next Saturday and next Sunday as well. Then we'll be having Peggy Lemon on the show next week. Junior Praise will be on the show next week as well. We had internet connectivity issues with him. And of course, more guests on African Fiesta. And back in the studio, we were 2 of us. Shin, that was the first experience. How was it?
No, it was beautiful.
Very hectic.
It was great. I really loved the whole ambience and everything I've learned. And everything, I guess everybody knows more about what Africa has to offer. So that was wonderful.
Great. Well, so I pray God that Shin and I will be back again for another edition of African Fiesta. Marcel Adig was our producer in Waldshut, Germany. Our studio motivator was Quintin, who finally joined us on set. We had you out there who gave us their moral support. From the studio, we are saying bye and do have a fantastic rest of the weekend, Shin.
Goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.
May God bless you all.
Carl on the beat, so it's lit. Akumba music. Control